G'day everybody, it's Dave from Wing Chun Mind Force. Today's video, I want to talk a little bit about a fantastic video I just found randomly online by a British gentleman called Augustus Roe. Now this is an excellent video. I've got the link down below. I wrote to him, and like a proper British gentleman, he wrote back and said, "I'd love to talk to you, Dave. Just send me an email." And I just wanted to say to him, firstly, what an excellent, amazing course this was. It's sort of like a 6-day course, I think, that was taught to secret agents during the Second World War who had to be trained really fast, men and women. And every step of the way was mind-bogglingly Wing Chun. It was just Wing Chun. It was quite exciting, actually. Now, I'm an old guy. I was born in 1958, so I was brought up by people who'd been in the Second World War, and my father was trained for the Korean War. He was in the Air Force. He taught me a lot of military tricks, including how to fight with a .303 rifle. And I also was in the cadets in the Vietnam War era, so learned a few things from those guys, learned a lot about firing weapons. And once again, being an Air Force cadet was a bit funny because the Army cadets had all the latest weapons, or at least, well, yeah, they had the SLR, the 7.62 weapon that our Australian soldiers used. They even had machine guns. They had the Bren gun, which is a fabulous World War II what's a heavy machine gun, I guess. They had this, Tommy gun type things. They had all sorts of stuff. And us Air Force cadets had these ancient .303s. I even fired one once when I was at the range. If you're just behind the bolt, you'll see the year of manufacture. And this was like 1897. And we used to joke that you could hear the rounds rattling down the barrel. They'd been fired so many times. But I love the .303. It's a heavy fighting weapon. I don't actually have one, but I might make a video about how to fight with a .303. Anyway, I just want to make this video for Augustus. He asked me if I would just send him some of my ideas. So essentially, he mentions that Fairbairn and Sykes, who came up with this commando method, this hand-to-hand fighting method, learned a lot in Shanghai in China, which was just fantastic because Wing Chun starts in southern China and goes to Hong Kong. And then, it's come down to us. And my teachers have literally been either Chinese masters or people directly taught by the Chinese masters. And I have been lucky to get the real thing, like straight from the horse's mouth. So Augustus has travelled up to York, another of my favourite places I've never visited, and he meets Chris from Battalion Martial Arts, and they work through a condensed version of William E. Fairbairn and Eric A. Sykes' original World War II close combat syllabus. I just want to talk about the principles of Wing Chun, this Chinese martial art that's made for self-defense, that can be applied to this fantastic series of lessons to make it extra powerful. Obviously, these were people who had to be trained in 6 days. There wasn't time to teach them Wing Chun. But I said to Augustus, I'll just tell you some of the principles. So, firstly, the things that blew me out was the palm strike, like bam. That is almost unknown in the West. People just don't think like that. But that was the first thing I was taught in Wing Chun. We only punch to the solar plexus and to the soft body. Everything else is palm strikes and arm strikes. So that is a deadly strike. That'll knock somebody out. Once you know how to be in your body, which I'm going to talk about, this is the bit of a supercharge. Once you can hit somebody like that and your body's immovable, practically, all your body weight's going to throw that brain back and knock them out. And it's hard to miss that way. The thing about a knuckle punch is you can hit people's teeth and cut your hands open, which can become badly infected and also, cut tendons and leave you maimed, you're bashing bone. Like this, you're catching them on the chin, and it's boom. It's like it's a catch-all. It's easy to get them, and they go further in there, and so you gouge their eyes and scrape their eyes. We weren't taught that, but that's an obvious thing to do if you're in a desperate situation, life or death. If you don't win, this person's either going to kill you or send you off to a death camp or get you tortured by the Gestapo, all of which are absolutely not something you want to happen. So, boom. So just to elaborate a little bit more on that, we have a system of power generation. That's what sets us apart from most other martial arts. We have a way of thinking about creating power that is quite incredible when you can experience it. And a lot of it's to do with simple mechanics. So your joints are, if you imagine, like bolts through a metal rod. So when you move, most people, their mind's all in the hand. They just want to hit, bang. But if you can put your mind in your elbow and feel your mind in your shoulder, it can help to practice it, to feel that's sort of immovable. But when you go like this, rather than think this, like that's just moving, think this, it comes up. So, boom, when you strike, rather than feeling like it's opening, pushing, this just goes up and this stays relaxed. Bam. So, and it's the same the other way. I wish I had somebody here to demonstrate with. My one fantastic student doesn't like to be on camera, but I really must find somebody that I can get on the camera so I can show you a lot of things. But it works the other way too. So in this course, we're sort of pulling the person down on our wooden dummy, which we practice all this stuff on in Wing Chun. We have a lot of this stuff where you're putting people down. It's, you're just flinging them down. So as they're vulnerable, you can then attack them in other ways, but it works that way too. So if you want to try this out, just get somebody to hold your wrist, and normally if you come against it, you'll find yourself pulling. You're just using your muscle strength. But if you relax your arm and just imagine this elbow point just dropping down like that, and I think in my mind a little like a crack, like when I feel the pressure, they're holding me, then I go click. It's like I let go of the last bit of tension. That just drops down and comes back, and you'll find they'll just about headbutt you. Same as the other way, so boom, like that. So that's just a bit of refinement on that strike. That blew me out. Like, that's just wow, because everyone in the old days was like karate chop, even in the 60s, James Bond was doing karate chop. But like the fist, people obsess about this. But in Wing Chun, our forms are all this shape moving through space. The whole thing's a weapon, and it's not just one arm, it's this one too. So in our more advanced fighting form, we call it Bill G. It's like a circular sword, like that. So you don't really, people just think, oh, I'm going to strike with the elbow, but actually the whole weapon potentially strikes. So from there to there, so it's like the whole thing. So this coming into attack like that is genius, because in that instant of attack and fear and whatever, you don't want to be trying to be super accurate and hit this thing. You just want to go blam. And once again, being relaxed, it all just comes through like a sword, like a sort of a curving scimitar type sword. And it's the same this way. This sort of thing, it's not just here. The whole thing gets a hold of them. Now, this brings me to a major point. In our Kung Fu, we've got 6 forms, and we start off with this stable, standing, only the arms moving form. It's called Sil Nim Dao. And what it literally means is don't use your conscious mind, use your subconscious. So firstly, we're training to let the animal out, the fighting animal. We've all got it in us. It's just hidden by layers of over-civilization and overthinking. We just stand and we do slow stuff, and it doesn't look like much, doesn't look like something really powerful. But what we're doing is purposely getting into the rear of our head where the subconscious mind has a sort of a plexus from which it controls things. And we're also finding the internal of our torso. We're sort of connecting to our torso. There's a lot to this sort of stuff, but once you can sort of feel the inside of your body, what we train you to do, once we start to move in the second form, it's called Chum Q, I won't let my students move and I won't let myself move until I know that I'm in there mentally and I'm moving from there. So it doesn't matter what I'm doing, if I'm doing this attack, but my mind is in there. So as I come into attack, my mind's in my whole body, but I'm sort of, for me, I'm in a little point in there, but for less experienced people, you can think of the whole, almost like your spine, but it's more like a line through your body, but that moves first. In your mind, you feel that moving, and it just increases the power exponentially. It's freaky, but this really can hurt. If you can be in there and go like that, what they feel is your whole body weight, and that's another excellent thing in the demonstration. Augustus is told to drop the weight. Boom. Okay, so that's also pure high-level Wing Chun, and it's a bit of a secret because you want the body to be unified. Even though I'm talking about joints, you want to feel like it's just a mass, like a blob. And when I go like that, I don't want it to be just my arm. I want it to be this blob expresses itself. That's why keeping your mind in the center makes that happen. And so whatever you do, you keep your mind in your center and you'll find it'll express it. You don't really need to understand how it works. That's the thing. People overthink this. You don't really need to think too much. Just be in your body. Whatever you're doing, feel that point. And I often train like this. I just sort of move around. My mind's in that point. So you've got that, and you can't really miss. This is what really amazed me, is this idea of get in close and keep hammering. Now that's the main reason I dissuade my students from sparring, not because pressure testing is not a good thing, but sparring is a really dumb thing to do to train yourself to really fight, because you don't want to step away. We never go bang, bang. Like, you're just giving him extra shots. The way we approach it, when it's on, we go in and we stay there and we keep hammering until the job's done. If I'm the agent and somebody comes at me like that, what happens is I'm in my center. I mentally connect to them. So it's another training thing, but I feel inside them, I feel me, and I just turn. We call it a pivot, but I just turn and give them 3 barrels. So boom, I give them whatever comes out of me. I don't think about it. I'm here, and then boom, boom. All 3 at once is the best. But you don't back off then. You keep at them until the fight's over. It's not a game. It's not a UFC scoring points thing. It's just get it done. And this has come from centuries of practical war fighting in China. And these old British guys were heavily involved in China. Whichever way you want to look at that, they learned a lot from the Chinese. Double-handed, like in our forms, we're always doing this sort of stuff. We don't go 1, 2, 3. We tend to go bam. That's why I do like that. It's like two strikes and a kick at the same time. Kicking is just like the arms. So that side kick, I don't really agree with that. It's a good kick, but it's really easy to miss, especially somebody's coming at you with a leg and you're trying to kick him in the knee. Firstly, if you're kicking at the front, that's the strongest structure. We always do that with pads. We hold the pad like that with the knee pointing behind it. That's strong, but at the side there is not strong. And we teach beginners, don't do that. You don't want to get kicked there. That's where it breaks the knee. So that's what you want to do. So what we do, we call it a hook kick, but it's literally just like going for a walk. A really powerful kick, believe it or not, is not a trying to be strong kick, same as the strike. This is a bit advanced once again, but it's just like kicking a football, a soccer ball. You guys in England call it just a football. We have other footy here, but coming in from the side, not sweeping in, but sort of almost straight or straight up the middle. But the whole leg is the weapon, same as the whole arm. The whole leg, it's just whoop, whoop, whoop. Sorry for my Dave Bruce Lee type noises, but it's incredibly powerful if you can kick without kicking. If you can just step, and in our more advanced form, Bill G, we do a lot of this sort of stuff to get the idea of just moving. So the whole body is the weapon. Really appreciate you, Augustus and Chris. It's such an excellent video. I'm going to watch a lot more of it. And I've got a great friend over in Canada who's a Wing Chun master, and he's one of the guys I listen to, is outside of my particular lineage. He's just spot on. His name's Michelle. Her name Michelle. But we've been collecting old fighting manuals like this and looking at it, and it's really incredible how it's pure Kung Fu. And idiots now say, oh, Kung Fu's no good on the street, Kung Fu, Wing Chun especially. They don't know what they're talking about. Believe me, don't listen to them. Sure, people who pretend to do Wing Chun who haven't been taught the old way, maybe they are sort of useless, but I can assure you, people like me can fight. And it's just this. It's intensely practical, ruthless, get the fight over sort of stuff. Regarding that warrior's ruthless killing approach, that's not an easy thing to train into somebody. I grew up in the 60s getting attacked and having pretty nasty fights with other kids, punching the heck out of each other's heads, getting throttled, held down. As I got older, more vicious adult fights. And I was a policeman, I was in the military, I was a bouncer. These things do prepare your mind, but still you can freeze and still you can be over-civilized. That's the hardest thing, is to get past that civilized training. Thou shalt not kill, this sort of stuff. If you're up against an enemy who doesn't have that barrier, you're at a real disadvantage. And all I can say, besides go out and live a really wild life, I don't necessarily tell you to do that, but you've got to just mentally prepare yourself. You've got to think about it. Bruce Lee said this all the time. He said, always think about being attacked. Think about what you would do. It's not just fantasy, it's actually real. And I had a gun situation where I had to point a gun with intent to kill at a man who was running out of the dark at me. My dad, who had been a career policeman, said to me, prepare your mind, Dave, prepare your mind that someday you might have to kill somebody. When I was in that situation, I was surprised how cool and calm I felt, and how absolutely I knew I was going to kill this guy if he had the weapon they said he had. They reckon he had an AK-47. If I'd seen that coming around towards me, it would have been bum bum. whatever the experience later would have been for me psychologically, I don't know. But in the moment, I'd rehearsed it so many times that I didn't hesitate. But I didn't shoot him either. I was controlled, but I was ready to do it. You have to be like this with fighting. But that's it. That's my little bit of a rave. Augustus and Chris, I'd love to talk to you more if you want to talk to me. Go a bit deeper into this stuff because there's quite a bit to it. But thanks for the video, and thanks for everyone for watching. Make sure you check out the video. It's excellent. And I'll see you next time. Bye.